My name is Gavin Evans, and this is my review of Chronicle. And this will be a spoiler-filled review, so if you haven't seen it, go and watch it, then come back and watch my review because I will be going in depth. Now, when this movie came out back in February of 2012, I loved it. I saw this movie 3 times in the theater, and to me back then, that was a huge deal. Back during that time period, it was all about Chronicle and Super 8. Those were my 2 favorite movies back then. So I decided to give this movie a rewatch last night, and I was a bit worried. Was it going to be as good as I remember it being? And unfortunately, the answer is no. But that's not to say there's not good things about it. There certainly is, beginning with the cast. Dane DeHaan is so good in this movie. This was the first movie I saw him in, and he hasn't given as good of a performance since. He does come across as a whiny brat in areas, but he also does come across as someone who you feel bad for. And when he takes the dark tone, you do buy him in that role. And he just pulls it off so flawlessly. He is so good in this movie. And then you've also got Michael B. Jordan, who is just so charismatic and likable here. And then you've got Alex Russell, who's also good in this movie. I do find it odd that out of the 3 of them, the only one who turned into a huge movie star is Michael B. Jordan, the guy with the smallest role of the 3. But that said, it's 100% well-deserved. The guy is an incredible actor in everything he's in. So, well deserved. But I do love how you buy them as a group of friends. When they're at the store and they're pulling pranks on people and they're just goofing off and laughing about it, they do actually feel like a real group of friends. And I love the fact that this movie has them use their powers in just day-to-day life. Just doing it in such a way that only teenagers would. It makes the movie feel more realistic and you buy into it all the more. This movie is a great character study of Andrew, and it's really effective in that regard. And honestly, it's realistic. If someone like Andrew in real life got these powers, he'd probably go down the same path Andrew did. So just the way they write his character here, I found to be incredibly well handled. And there's just a few moments that just stay with you. After everything goes wrong with him and that girl, and then he approaches that bully in the school and he takes out his tooth and he goes to the bathroom and just films himself talking about how he pulled his tooth out. I think that's a really disturbing scene. And then his entire speech on the apex predator is just chilling. And Dane DeHaan sells you on it entirely. So all of that stuff really works for me. But where the movie goes off the rails for me is in regards to the found footage formatting and the fact that I find this movie to be way too short. The found footage just added nothing to this movie. It's really effective in movies like Blair Witch Project and Paranormal Activity because they feel realistic. It feels like you're actually observing real people. But because this movie is a superhero movie, it just doesn't have the same effect. Just shoot it like a normal movie. I know it's cheaper to go the found footage route, but it's not as good. And there's just moments where it just takes away from the movie. The entire final battle should be this emotionally charged fight between these 2 friends. And the movie just has no emotion in it, just due to the found footage aspect. It spends all of its effort in the final fight to try to record the final fight than it is actually on the final fight. And just every time it switches to a new camera or a new angle, I'm just like, stop, I don't care, just focus on the characters, focus on the story. It just takes you out of it. And I also hate how because of the format this movie is shot in, they also use it as an opportunity to just cut scenes short, and it really frustrates me. That scene where they're in the cave and they're discovering the crystals and, I don't know, alien stuff or whatever. Then all of a sudden the cave starts to collapse and you're like, okay, this is getting good, and then it just cuts to black and now they have the powers and now they know how to use it. I feel like we're missing 15 minutes there. And it's just does take away from the movie. Movie should go A to B to C to D to E to F. But this movie goes A to B to E to F. And it just isn't as satisfying. There's also this one moment where Andrew kills Steve. And it should be this huge moment that just shakes you to your core. But because of the found footage aspect and the fact that they cut away as soon as he falls, the moment just has zero emotional weight behind it. So that really doesn't work for me, and I do find this movie to be too short. Like I said, you could easily fill those time gaps in the movie, but also just use this time to just flesh out the characters and their relationships a bit more. Matt and Andrew's relationship should have been the core of this movie, and there's just not enough attention given to them. I also found Andrew's mom to be a character who I didn't care for because you only see her 2 times before she dies. I would have liked it if we saw a bit more from Andrew's dad. Just everything in this movie feels rushed. Like when Andrew gets popular, it lasts for like 5 minutes and then it's gone. So you don't feel the weight of it as much. Also, there's this one character who Matt likes in this movie, and I don't think she added anything to it. She could have been written out of it entirely, and the movie would have been all the better for it. And the movie does have some bad CGI. I didn't notice it when this movie first came out, but when they're flying to the sky or when they're catching baseballs with their mind, it sticks out like a sore thumb. But look, I still enjoy this movie. It's not as good as I remember it being, but I still enjoyed it. Dandy Hahn really does give a phenomenal performance, and the character study of Andrew is really effective. And that's where the movie hits its peak. If it wasn't found footage and if it was 20 minutes longer, I feel like this movie could have been a really great movie. But the found footage just constantly takes you out of it, and the short one time just makes everything feel rushed, and it doesn't flesh everything out as much as it could have. So because of that, I'm going to go ahead and give Chronicle a 6 out of 10. Josh Trank does do a really good job directing this movie. I actually did enjoy his Capone movie as well, and his Fantastic Four movie isn't as bad as people say. I love what he's going for, but you can tell that it's the studio interference that brings that movie down. So I hope he gets more opportunities, because I feel like this movie set him up to be like this great director. Like, I believe after it came out, he was attached to so many projects, and just every single one fell through. And it's a real shame that's the case. But anyways, have you seen Chronicle? What did you think about it? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you like, make sure you comment, make sure you subscribe. Stay tuned for some more videos soon, and Gavin out.